Welcome into the Moi Ploy Boys Dynasty Podcast, the greatest podcast that you didn't want or ask for. And now introducing your hosts, Jake the Gluten-Free Karras and Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell.
Hello and welcome into the Moi Ploy, the greatest fantasy podcast that nobody wanted or asked for. I am your host, Jake the Gluten-Free Karras. What the hell is the Moi Ploy and why are you here? The Moi Ploy is I run a bunch of different leagues. I'm the commish, and the Moi Award is the Manager of the Year, MOY, and the Moi Ploy is the ploy to get the award. It is a award that the managers of the league all vote on, so it's very political, and there's lots of different plot lines that take place because of this award. It's more sought after than the actual championship itself. That's how important the Moi Award is. Now, without any further ado, let's get in because we have got 30 different trades to cover. All right, so we're going to break down some of the pre-startup draft trades of the Fantasyland Dynasty Football League. In case you somehow stumbled onto this video and don't know what Fantasyland Dynasty Football is, it's a YouTube channel. They make very easy to watch and understand content for both casual and hardcore Dynasty players. Go there. Don't listen to me. They're actually decent at what they do. I'm just a dude who's surrounded by toddler toys and baby toys everywhere because I got 3 kids under 3. All right. Now, it is 2:14 in the morning here. My other baby's going to wake up any second, so I'm going to try and fly through this crap. All right. We're going to be breaking these trades down strictly by value as of this moment. All these trades happened before the draft, so some picks were traded multiple times. It's not necessarily who that manager was trading for. For example, Antonio Gibson, the pick that represented Antonio Gibson, got traded for like 3 or 4 times. So just because you hate the player that was selected doesn't necessarily mean that that was the player that got picked, or that that's what the manager traded for. Just think of it as a right to choose a player of comparable value at the position. Now, however, if you did trade up to make a pick, then you reached down at the pick, you're going to be flamed, and I will not be gentle. All right, shall we get into it? Let's do it. All right. So, first up, we have Captain Kyle Picard. Captain Picard got Nyheim Hines, Cooper Kupp, and Chris Godwin, and 7 GOAT rings got Carson Wentz, Najee Harris, and Kadarius Toney. I've done the math on this trade. I feel like it's pretty even overall value. However, I think I will take the side that produces more fantasy points. That will be the Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin side most likely. I'll take that side. Best player in the deal, however, does go to 7 GOAT rings with the Najee pick. Second trade, Sus Screwmate gets Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, CEH, and a 24 first. And he trades for Herbert, Tua Tags, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and a first. You look at this trade straight up, absolutely all day. I will windmill slam the Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts side of this. I love Herbert, but downgrading from Jalen Hurts to Tua Tags, both guys that don't really have a ton of job security, give me the dude that puts up hella points. Amon-Ra CEH, honestly, similar values. I think CEH arrow is pointing downwards and Amon-Ra is pointing upwards. However, looking at value as of this moment, this little slice in time, and they're not too incredibly far away. You swap a 24 first for a 23 first. Tisbaum get the bottom Herbert side. Tisbaum gets the 23 first. So I'll take the Sus Crewmate. Third trade. Jamar trades the 309, which is ETN, 709 that's Zeke, 23 first and a 23 second. Badaki gets the 108, which is Jamar Chase, and the 805, which is George Pickens. Chase for ETN, a 23 first and a 23 second isn't honestly super far off, as I think ETN has a chance to become worth more than just 1 first after this year. Now, we're trying to keep it not future focused, because ETN I don't think ended up being, I think ETN got traded a couple other times, so it was more of the pick around that area. He's younger than Najee, has great pass catching ability in college. His injury doesn't really concern me, as there are numerous studies that show athletes coming back from Liz Frank injuries return to their pre-injury form and are just as effective upon the return. So I don't think that Pickens for Zeke is really not that too far off. It depends a lot on what Pickens does. So this trade is kind of a toss-up for me. It ends up being a very even trade, in my opinion. All right. I think I would probably lean towards the Jamar Chase side, but not by much. Not by much. Just because Pickens and Zeke are so close, and ETN plus a first and a second, I don't think would get you Jamar Chase in most leagues. Now, we have got a blockbuster trade coming up here for the fourth overall trade. Fourth trade. We have got Jamar and Sus crewmate. Jamar gets Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Jalen Waddle, Antonio Gibson, Dalton Schultz, 23 second, 23 third, 23 fourth. Sus crewmate gets Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Kade Otton, Aaron Jones, and Zeke. This is a little bit difficult to break down, but I'm just going to try. I've got a script. I'm going to stick to it. Try and keep up with you can. I hope I wrote this well. Hurts for Williams is pretty even. They both have a lot of question marks, but for example, like Hurts might lose his job next year. He might lose his job the year after that. And is Javonte Williams going to be in a perennial timeshare? Then you've got Waddle for ETN. I think Waddle edges out ETN by a bit. Aaron Jones for Gibson. I'll take the Aaron Jones side. And that's, I think I'll take Aaron Jones by about as much as I would take the Waddle. So the Waddle kind of pushes it towards Jamar, but then Aaron Jones kind of evens that a little bit. So I think Jalen Hurts and Javonte Williams are super, super close as well. Let's see, where are we in this thing? So now you've got Schultz for Zeke. I lean Zeke on that side just because I think Zeke is just the running back position. He's still got a lot of guaranteed money left. I lean Zeke in that situation. So I'm leaning towards Sus crewmate side at this moment, but then at the very bottom of this trade, you've got Kade Otton, and essentially ends up balancing Kade Otton for a 23 second, 23 third, and a 23 fourth. That leans me heavily towards Jamar's side of this trade. Give me that Jamar's side by a margin of him getting a 23 second pick and a 23 third pick for free. Now, Jamar, you're going to notice, has a knack for balancing these massive and confusing deals in his favor. So watch out, guys. All right. Briar Proctor. This is fifth trade right here is probably one of the worst trades that you're ever going to see. Briar Proctor gets the 206 and 211. That ends up being Najee Harris and CMC. 7 Goat Rings gets the 1008, which is David Bell. 705, that's David Montgomery, and a 23 first. So if this trade was like just literally Najee for Bell, Monty, and a 23 first, people would be upset. However, 7 Goat Rings just threw in CMC for free. So I feel like 7 Cock Rings is more appropriate because you really made a dick out of yourself on this one here. All right, the 6th trade, 7 Goat Rings and Tiz Bomb. 7 Goat Rings gets the 506, that's Garrett Wilson, 23 first. 503, it's Tua Tags, 23, and another 23 first. Tiz Bomb gets 705, it's Dave Montgomery, 102, it's Josh Allen, 23 third. Now, Garrett Wilson and the 223 firsts are about what it would cost to get Josh Allen. That basically ends up being like 3 first-round picks to get Josh Allen. That's about right, which leaves Monty and a third for Tua. You might have to add in a little bit of change. Now, that's a tough call. The Monty and a third for Tua. I'll take the Josh Allen side only because it's a fairly even trade, but Josh Allen is the best player in the deal. So if it's an even trade, I generally want the best player in the deal. Unless, of course, I'm rebuilding, then I want the more assets in the deal. So, I think this was a win-win example. 7 Goat Rings is rebuilding, especially after that shit trade he just made with Briar Proctor. So, yeah. Enough said. Moving on. All right, the 7th trade. Jamar does it again, man. Okay. Jamar gets the 807, that's CEH. 309, that's ETN. 210, that's Breece Hall. 903, it's Pat Freiermuth. And the 1303, that is Tyrion Davis-Price and a 24-second. Sus crewmate gets Jalen Hurts, Russell Gage, Treylon Burks, Mike Evans, and Dallas Goedert. So, Jamar, you are absolutely killing me at these big trades. It was such a pain in the ass to balance these. Jalen Hurts for Breece Hall. Honestly, it's not super far off. However, I don't think you could have traded Jalen Hurts for the 101 during a 22 rookie draft. And I think people are, however, I think people are beginning to realize what bringing in AJ Brown really means for Hurts' production and potential long-term job security. So those two end up being pretty close. I think both of them have potential for the arrow to point even further upwards. Now, ETN for Traelon. Again, I don't think you could have traded Travis Etienne for the 103 in rookie drafts, so I think you have to lean Traelon. That said, RB is a scarcer position, and Etienne has a very secure role in his offense. Dallas and Goddard for CEH and Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth. Tough call. I expect Evans to have a great start to the season. However, Freiermuth also fits my tight end breakout finder very well, and it would not surprise me to see Freiermuth going in the third to fifth round of next year's startups once he posts a 180-point season or better. He may not do that because of the rookie quarterback situation, but I think you'll see his value really jump this year. So it ends up being very even there. That leaves TDP, Tyrion Davis-Price, and a 24-second for Russell Gage. Easy call there. Give me TDP and a 24-second by a mile. So again, I will take Jamar's side. He's really working the bottom of these big deals. I'm telling you, Jamar, if he's setting up a big trade like this, run fast. You heard it here first. Jamar loves massive packages, massive trade packages. Jamar loves massive trade packages. All right. The 8th trade, Captain Picard, Kyle Picard, gets the 708, which is Lenny Fournette, and the 210, that's Breece Hall, and then Jamar, it's a 1206 to Baker Mayfield, gets a 406, that's Joe Mixon, and a 23 first. Breece for Mixon in a first. I'll take the Mixon in a first side. However, Lenny for Baker isn't particularly close, so we kind of had to break this down as like in piece by piece value. So Breece is worth like 2 rookie firsts type of value at the moment. Lenny is worth like a 24 first. On the other side, you've got Mixon, who's worth like a first and a half. And a 23 first is roundabout, it's worth about a 23 first in value. So Baker is definitely a 24 second or worse. So that ends up being like 2 23 first and 24 firsts for like 2.5 23 firsts and a 24 second. Now, since a second is not quite worth half of a first, I will take Kyle Picard's Breece Hall side by a nose here. God damn it. The 9th trade overall was a complete Zach and Dak swap. Zach gave Dak all of his picks, and Dak gave Zach all of his picks. However, Zach gave Dak a 23 first, so now Dak has Zach's 23 first. All right, now we're done with the Zach-Dak attack. Everything in the first 4 rounds is the only thing that we're really going to look at here. Everything after that, after like the 5th round and on, it's really just like personal value and like personal strategy based. So we're just going to break down the first 4 picks of this trade, and the rest is just, we're going to call it a wash, because he picks first here, but then he picks first on this side, and it just ends up balancing. So it ends up being Mahomes, Fields, Higgins, and Dobbins. Mahomes, Justin Fields, Higgins, and Dobbins. 4. And this is Dak's side. He gets Prescott, Wilson, Eckler, Devonta Adams, and a 23 first. So I'm not going to cover everything. We're going to take Dak's side here. I feel like Holmes for Prescott and 23 first is more than fair, but absolutely give me Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Give me Eckler and Adams over Higgins and Dobbins. Not by much, because I do like Higgins a lot. However, I hate Dobbins. All right. The 10th trade. I finally enter the game. Gluten Freak gets the 1002, that's Kareem Hunt, 511, that's Jameson Williams, a 23 first and a 23 first, and Dak gets Derrick Henry, Travis Kelce. Kelce's worth about a 23 first, Henry's worth about a 23 first. However, so Dak may have reached a little bit on these picks, but I've also seen these players both go higher as well, so it's hard to say. Now, later in the season, once the playoffs start, you will absolutely have to pay more than 23 first to get either of these players if they're healthy, especially in a league where you're playing for cash. So if you win in the league this year, you get your Patreon dollars back for the entire year. So Dak is really trying to get his money, Patreon money back, and it's hard to fault him for pushing the chips in. But bro, Dak, like, what you're doing is essentially taking money back out of a beggar's cup after you've already given it to them. You're taking your Patreon, you're giving them your Patreon money just to take it back, bro? Have a heart. I'm just kidding. You better take that fucking cash if you win, because it goes without saying, I will take my side of the trade, otherwise I wouldn't have made the trade. All right, the 11th trade. Patrick Surtain, 18. Oh my god, how long? How long have we been going? 15 minutes. All right, here we go. I am pooped. Patrick Surtain, we're like 1/3 of the way through. Surtain, 18. Gets a 205, that's Javonte Williams. A 405, that's Traelon Burks. The 908, that's Dallas Goedert. Sus crewmate gets the 203, that's CeeDee Lamb. 510, that's Marquise Brown. 710, that's Amari Cooper. I'm stuttering a lot. Williams and Lamb are close, but give me the certainty of Lamb over the potential perennial timeshare of Javonte Williams. Burks for Brown, give me Burks. Goddard for Cooper, give me Cooper. It's not particularly close on that last bit, so I will take the sus crewmate side by a nose with the CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown, Amari Cooper compared to Javonte Williams, Traelon Burks, and Dallas Goedert. Mostly decided by the Cooper for Goddard down there at the bottom. The 12th trade, again, me. I get the 608, that's Chris Olave, and the 23 second, 24 second, 23 third go to Briar Proctologist. Now, I thought this trade was garbage because he offered me the opposite. So I basically reversed everything, sent it back to him, Jedi mind tricked the dude. He accepted and goes, oh no, what have I done? And ends up begging me to undo the trade. But looking at it now, it's honestly not too horribly far off because I think Olave coming up in this 2023 class will end up being kind of a mid-second round pick, especially if like there's 4 or 5 quarterbacks that go in like that first round and a half. It's going to push all those receivers down, and there's going to be like 5 running backs or so that kind of go in that first round and a half. It's really going to push those receivers down. And even if he's like the receiver 5 in the class, that's a mid-23 second. So this trade actually would have made quite a bit of sense for Briar to hang on to here. However, he wants to reverse it. We reverse it, but I take an extra 24 fourth as tax for offering me a trade that I hated and that he also hated when it was offered to him. All right. The 14th trade, because the 13th trade was the reversal with the extra fourth added in. The 14th trade. Jamar and Tisbaum. Jamar gets the 1007, which is Dameon Pierce, the 306 at Trevor Lawrence at 23 fourth. Tisbaum gets the 406, that's Joe Mixon, 23 second, and an 810, that's Dalton Schultz. Mixon for Lawrence is close, however, I fucking hate Trevor Lawrence. I said I wasn't going to bring my personal feelings into it, but I can't do it because Trevor Lawrence sucks huge donkey dick. All right, Trevor Lawrence sucked a Jamar-sized package his rookie season. We all know Jamar loves big packages. Now, the only upgrade that the Jaguars gave him is Christian Kirk. You swap out James Robinson, you add an ETN. And Christian Kirk is being so overpaid that he's going to eat into the Jaguars' future spending if they ever want to keep him around. So they needed to add a wideout in the draft this year so that wideout could develop throughout Lawrence's second year so that Lawrence isn't completely ruined by his third year, which he will be. Lawrence was the worst rookie quarterback last year, and he played every game. He was in the worst situation, and that includes Justin Fields with the Bears, had the worst points per game stats, had the worst weapons, and now he's one of the most expensive of those 2021 rookie quarterbacks? It makes no fucking sense. You know what? Screw balancing the trade. Whoever got rid of Lawrence wins. Tisbaum dodging bombs out here. Well done, brother. 15th trade. 7 goat rings. That's the 20. It's 7 goat rings and Tisbaum. Goat rings gets 1207. That's James Robinson. 1607. That's Van Jefferson. A 23 third. Tisbaum gets the 1702 Devontae Parker, 1902 Curtis Samuel, 23 second. Now, pretty much all irrelevant players were picked. Like, none of these players are going to be relevant. They're all irrelevant. They got picked up in this trade. I don't expect any of these guys to crack any starting lineups anytime soon. Not more than like twice per season. So give me the pick upgrade by a fucking mile. Tizbomb dropping truth bombs out here. I'll take the Tizbomb side because he turns a third into a second with a little bit of magic. Excuse me. Now, the 16th trade is Jamar and Goat Rings. Jamar, this is a smaller package for Jamar. 1008, David Bell. 811, Hawkinson, and a 24 first. Goat Rings gets a 23 second. Antonio Gibson and a second 23 second. The only reason this trade looks so lopsided is that our league literally became allergic to the tight end position in rounds 4 through 8. Somehow, Hawkinson fucking fell to the 8-11. Shame on all of you. If I had a pick before the 9-12, I would have spanked you all, grabbed Hawkinson. I don't give a shit that my first round pick and my only pick of the draft until the 9-12 was a tight end. The value was nuts. Cannot believe, like, some of the picks that went before. Just absolutely shameful. Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to shame some of you for not taking TJ Hawkinson. Where did TJ Hawkinson go? The 8-11? Okay. CEH over Hawkinson? Really? Kadarius Toney over Hawkinson? Really? James Conner over Hawkinson? Really? Brandon Ayuk over Hawkinson? Really? 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 Zeke Elliott over Hawkinson? Really? Really? The dude in his second year was the tight end 5. Yeah, he got a little nicked up. So what? So what? He's only had 2 real injuries, one his rookie year and one the second year. He's not even injury prone yet. And y'all seem like you're terrified of him. He already broke out. He is already in that top tier with in points per game with like he's right next to where Zach Ertz used to be. Darren Waller is now. And he's in that second tier of tight ends. Like really, really good, dependable tight ends that you start every week and don't think about. And no one wanted him. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hawkinson is the target over Amon-Ra St. Brown in that offense. And you took Amon-Ra St. Brown over Hawkinson? You dumb? The only reason St. Brown got those picks or got those targets last year is because Hawkinson was injured in the last 4 games of the season. You think it's coincidence that St. Brown broke out when Hawkinson went down? No. Come on. Stop being stupid. Take Hawk. I just, like, ugh. Ugh. Okay, moving on. That's why the trade looks so lopsided. So it's hard to grade this one. I would take the Goat Ring side normally, but because Hawk was still there in the 11th, it's a windmill slam for Jamar. Next up. Next up. The 17th trade is Hat Trick Surtain and Jamar. Jamar takes a 23 first for himself and gives away 2 24 firsts. I believe that Jamar is going to regret this trade in 2024, and I regretted not taking it when he offered it to me. However, he offered it to my 23 first, and if you look at my team, you know it's going to be the 101 because my team is dog dookie. However, if I had known that he would have taken a mid to late first for this deal, I would have slam dunked that shit. Well done, Hat Trick Surtain, for scoring 3 goals on this trade. 18th trade, Zach and Dak at it again. All right, so Zach gets the 11-11, and do you guys do like the Make-A-Wish thing when the clock turns like 11:11 p.m. or 11:11 a.m. or something? Well, anyways, at the 11-11, it's the Make-A-Wish kid who is allowed to play quarterback for the New York Giants, and no one knows how or why the hell he is still there. Daniel Jones. 802, Elijah Mitchell, and a 24 first. Dak gets the 1101, Cordell Patterson. Keenan Allen at the 612. So essentially, you're going Keenan Allen for Mitchell and a 24 first. And I believe that is a huge overpay to get Keenan Allen. Mitchell and 24 first is a massive overpay. The 11th round swap where like they moved 10 spaces, don't give a shit. Don't give a shit about that. There's not a huge tear break, and they didn't make the trade when there was an obvious tear break on the clock. So like I don't care about the 11 swap. All this is Keenan Allen and 4 Mitchell and 24 first. Give me the Mitchell and 24 first side. Zach showing why he's the one making the content, not us. 19th trade. Devon 001 and Captain Kyle Picard. Devon gets the 107, that's Justin Jefferson, and the 307, that's Debo. Picard gets Lamar Jackson, which is the 104. We're just going to think of it as Joe Burrow for the sake of balancing this trade, because the 104 should have been Joe Burrow. Shame on you. Shame on you for not taking Joe Burrow at the 104. The 504, Derek Carr, and a 24 second. This trade would not look so ugly if the 104 was Joe Burrow. So, and Lamar Jackson's frequently drafted behind Justin Jefferson, so like it really kind of throws off the dynamic of this trade. All right, so if you replace Jackson with Burrow, especially in a 6-point passing touchdown league, it kind of balances much better. So in order to trade Jefferson for Burrow, you generally need to add like a 23-second round pick worth of value to the Jefferson side. So when you consider the rest of the trade, we need to look at a second round pick. We need to find a second round pick worth of value in the rest of this trade. So we start breaking down the rest of the trade. It ends up being Debo for 24 second and Derek Carr. Now I happen to be firmly on the Debo side of that trade. So I think I prefer the Debo side it would probably take Derek Carr in 2 seconds to get me to even like start the conversation, but it'll probably take Derek Carr 2 seconds and some extra, which means that I will definitely take the Justin and Debo side as they come out by a little bit. However, it's so close that I generally will take the best player in the situation at a scarcer position. I'll likely end up, even though I think the more valuable side is the Devon side, I think if you get Joe Burrow there at the 104, give me the best player in the deal. I'd probably take the Burrow side just because I believe in Burrow, and this is a 6-point passing touchdown league. Hell yeah. 20th trade, Gluty and Devon. Gluty, myself, gets a 1304, Jalen Tolbert, and a 23 first. Devon gets a 601, that's Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones is worth about a late 23 first, I would guess. However, you throw in Jalen Tolbert, and I start to lean my side. That said, it's a 6-point passing touchdown league, and Mac Jones literally just had a season that matches Tom Brady's first 5 NFL seasons, like 3,500 yards, mid-20s touchdowns. He literally averaged, he went like 12 interceptions, 14 interceptions, 12 to 14, 12, and he had Mac Jones had 13 interceptions his rookie season, 22 touchdowns. It like matches up eerily similar with Brady's early production. Not saying, just saying. The 21st trade, Briar Proctologist and Captain Picard. Proctologist gets 104, that's Lamar Jackson. 210, that's Breece Hall. 1006 is Michael Thomas. Captain Picard gets 105, which ended up being Joe Burrow. The 208, that's DeAndre Swift. 23 second and a 24 second. Now, we're going to just kind of swap who got picked where in the 104, 105, because I believe the 104 represents a tier break, especially in a 6-point passing touchdown league, as I see Burrow being in a slightly different tier than the rushing quarterbacks that kind of go around him. Now, Burrow is the clear 104 to me, so I'm going to choose this trade, see the trade as 104 as Burrow, which leaves Breece for Swift. Close to even, but give me the Breece side because Swift hasn't been able to stay healthy any of his seasons yet. Michael Thomas is not worth those two second-round picks, but the upgrade from the 105 to the 104 and from Swift to Breece should be worth those for me. So give me the side with Breece and the 104, but not by much. It's not Briar Proctologist's fault that Lamar Jackson was taken at the 104, or was it? Yeah, it was. Shame on you, you fool. All right. Okay. The 22nd trade ends up being Jamar and 7 goat rings. Jamar gets Van Jefferson, 1607 Van Jefferson, 610 Antonio Gibson, 611 Devonta Smith, and a 23 third. 7. Are you guys having fun yet? Yay! I'm going to need a glass of water after this. 30 minutes in, and I've been talking so fast, and we're like 2/3 of the way through. All right. Van Jefferson, Antonio Gibson, Devonta Smith, and 23 third. Goat rings gets the 807, that's CEH, the 811, that's Hawkinson, the 1303, that's TDP, Tyrion Davis Price, 24 second, and a 24 second. Another Jamar massive package. Jamar has big packages, and I don't know if I can take any more huge packages tonight, so I really hope this is the last one. Gibson and Smith for Hawk and CEH is not honestly too far off. I'll take the Tyrion Davis Price over Van Jefferson all day, every day. And one side gets 2 seconds compared to 1/3. So that is an easy slam dunk for the Goat Ring side, mostly just because Hawkinson fell stupidly far in this draft, and every trade that involves the pick representing Hawkinson kind of becomes hella lopsided. Not Jamar's fault that everyone else in the league who didn't pick Hawk is dumb, kind of Jamar's fault because Jamar didn't pick Hawkinson anytime before the 8-11. All right, the 23 trade. This is how you package it down tier. I'm going to explain this to you because Tizbomb, you're going to get a new nickname here. Nothing personal, but I'm a little peeved at you for this trade. Jamar, he gets the 1407 and a 23 second, and Tizbomb gets the 1008. That's David Bell and a 23 fourth. Jamar is added again. This is how you down tier in a draft. I offered Tizbomb practically the same trade, except I packaged it as my 23 second for his 10th rounder. Now, where I was getting this, his 23 second for my 10th rounder, which is the trade that basically Tizbomb made here. So the problem is that does something to a person's psyche where you offer like a pick for a startup pick straight up. It does something to a person's psyche because it says, hey, if this guy's willing to take a second round pick for the startup pick, then he must know that there's not going to be anyone available worth that second round pick at the 10th round here. Auto decline, me so smart, beep boop. However, Jamar packaged it like, hey, look, all it costs you is a second rounder to move up 4 whole rounds. And Tizbitch was like, oh, wow, 4 rounds value, me take now. And so he gives up a 14th round pick for free. David Bell isn't worth the 23 first alone. Or the 23 second. David Bell is not worth that 23 second alone. If David Bell is a 3rd round pick in a lot of drafts in the 2022 class. You put David Bell in 2023 class, he's going to be like a 4th round pick. Now, that's 23. He's not worth the 23 second right now. He could get there at some point. But maybe not. And we're not worried about then. We're worried about right now. And so somehow Jamar gets 23 second for David Bell, but then also gets DJ Chark for a 23 fourth. Like, DJ Chark's worth a bit more than a 23 fourth. So the fact that you gained extra value, it's just, it's nuts. This is how you down tier. You Jedi mind trick people. You don't send the pick for the pick. You don't send the rookie pick for the startup pick because that signals to them that I would rather have the rookie pick than this. You package it as like, oh look, you can move up 4 rounds for just a second round pick. 4 rounds for a second, that's easy. When you know damn well that the players available at the 1008 are not worth that 23 second that you are getting. Well done, Jamar. He's out here Jedi mind tricking people like this is not the value you are looking for. All right. 24th trade. Myself, Patrick Cert 18. I get three 24 firsts and a 3 24 firsts and a 23 second. Certain gets a 201, the 1002, and the 1801. So for some Traelon's truthers, Traelon's is worth more than 2 firsts. Some would even pay 3 first-round picks, especially if they're 24 firsts, which likely won't pay off till 2025. And that kind of leaves a 23 second for Hunt and Huntley. Decent, however, I will obviously take my side. I'm already in a rebuild at this point, so that ends up being a great trade for me as the rebuilder wants the more diverse, wants to turn one asset into multiple assets, which I did here by taking Trey Lance, turning him into 3 firsts. All right. That was a gunshot. Very close to my house. I live in St. Louis City. It'd be like that, y'all. Moving on. 25th trade, and the babies are still asleep. They're city babies, man. City babies. All right. Nope. We're just going to keep rolling. Not going to look. We're just going to keep rolling. That didn't just happen. All right. Actually, in my neighborhood, we don't get a lot of gunshots. But I have lived in a neighborhood where there's gunshots every night. I actually was shot at one time myself, but that's a story for another time. Captain Kyle gets 1202 is Roger Stevenson, 1511 is Daryl Henderson, 23 second, and a 24 second. Dak gets the 708, that's Lenny Fournette, 1502, that's Naeem Hines. Lenny is worth about Stevenson and the seconds right now, which mostly leaves a 15th round swap, which I don't really care about. However, Henderson has upside, but Naheem's doesn't really have any. So even with Dak getting the best player in the deal, it's a pretty even trade with Dak getting the best player in the deal with Lenny and the win now asset. So I will lean the Dak side. The 26th trade, you know what? Just in case someone is dying and bleeding out there, I am going to go check. So I'm going to end it here. We're going to pick up with the 26th trade and probably finish it tomorrow. It's getting late. So yeah, hopefully no one is dead. Alrighty. More gunshots are happening right now. I'm going to go. Wish me luck.